Hey, Magic fans, welcome to this episode of Penny for Your Thoughts, the podcast from the Orlando Magic UK. As always, I'm joined by Geraint Jones and Mikey Clark. Mikey, how's it going, buddy?
All right, mate. Thank you. And yourself?
Good, man.
You boys
all
recovered?
All good. Grant, how are you?
Yeah, good, mate. A little bit tired today. We had a long day, but I'm sure we'll get to that later on.
Yeah, how was the 5K for you, mate?
Yeah, I've been I didn't do much training. I probably went out 3 times in the last 2 weeks or so. I was able to shave nearly 2 minutes off my personal best, so very happy with that time.
Good man. And we are also joined this week by a special guest, public address announcer for the Lakeland Magic, Hank Taylor. Hank, also part of the G League bubble, and you were PA announcer for Orlando Pride, I believe, as well. So welcome. Thanks for joining us. How are things?
Oh, things are great. Things are great here in Central Florida. It's a beautiful day for those who did the 5K. It was a great day for that. I did not personally, but it was a beautiful day here. It was awesome.
And you know what? We were going to come to the 5K in a bit, but I'll do it now because that's just made me laugh. You saying about it being a beautiful day. I've done that 5K today in driving wind, constant snow and hail. It was absolutely horrendous to be running it.
Miserable.
Awful. Absolutely miserable. I thought when I signed up that doing the Orlando Magic 5K that it would also include Orlando weather. Apparently not.
Apparently not.
So but yeah, it was good. I enjoyed taking part. My daughter did it with us. Mikey, how did yours go?
I got the missus to do it for me instead.
Somebody wussed out because they've got a slight niggle of the calf.
I've had a calf strain for over 4 weeks now. So
says the bloke who missed last week's podcast because of concussion.
Yeah, we need to come on to that in a minute as well. The problem is, right? The problem is you get into your 30s. I'm 34 now, and I still think I can train like I'm 24. And you go too hard, and then my calf went about 4 odd weeks ago, and I'm just being a big wuss. So I thought I'd jib out. I'll do it when my calf's good, and I'll post that up. So I'll still get on and do it, don't worry. But I did 28K on the bike in an hour earlier, so I've done something today.
Yeah, that's the motorbike though, wasn't it?
The motorbike, yeah. Moped, little hairdryer.
So as Hank, as you just said, I missed last week's podcast. We do this each week. And I will tell you the story of how I ended up missing the podcast last week because somebody is a danger to themselves. Walking through our house, I opened the living room door into my nose, for God knows how, and managed to break my nose. So that left me, should we say, a little bit woozy. Around 4 hours later, I'm in the kitchen and bang my temple onto the cooker extractor hob, and I left myself with concussion. I was walking around in circles for a week. So
what the girls haven't told you, Paul, is that Heather or Joe was on the other side of that door, whack. and then when your head was near the hood of the cooker, whack. They're not telling you that.
Honestly, how I can be such a danger to myself. I mean, both objects. One, I don't know how you open a door onto yourself. I mean, I know I've got a ridiculous sized nose, but even so, that is some pretty. Yeah, exactly. My feet are longer than my nose, so it should not have happened. But there we go.
But we've heard a lot about it. So you saying I'm all worse? Hey,
Mate,
a little bit of concussion.
I actually blamed it for my time today as well. I've had to run with inside myself. I've been very careful about it.
So, it's going on. Credit to Mikey's wife Becky, though. She did a superb time, in fairness to her, having only trained a couple of weeks. So props to her.
And I've been moaned at ever since.
So Hank, first of all, mate, we love the shirt. As I said earlier, that is a fantastic shirt. Really like that. Very, very jealous of that one. Very good. But mate, would you mind telling us a little bit about yourself? So as everybody gets to know you a little bit, what's involved with the job that you do?
Yeah, so I'm the public address announcer for Lakeland. I've been with them now all 4 seasons that they've been in Lakeland. So it's I have a streak of 80 home games, haven't missed one, and so I've seen a lot of G League basketball. Even if you include the Magic home games that we had in the bubble. But a little bit about me: I'm 28 years old this year, and I've been doing public address for 14 of my 28 years. So I had this realization earlier that that's something I've done half my life, and there's not very many things that I've done for half my life, but that is one of those things. But I started doing that when I was in high school. A great story on how I got started. I was in a television production class my 9th grade year, my first day of high school. I walked in. I instantly hit it off with the teacher. My birth name was actually Henry, but he just sort of declared that he was going to call me Hank, and that was I was going to go by in his class. And that first day of class, we were doing sort of like an overview. We had a great TV studio, lots of stuff. So we were doing sort of like an overview of everything. And one of the things we had to do was to read lines to the camera. We were doing like a talent exercise. So I did this talent exercise. I have background in theater and other things. So I did pretty well on, reading and delivering this line to the camera. That he kept me after class and said, "Hey, you did a really good job on that. Are you looking for a job? Because we need an announcer for our high school athletics program." And I was like, okay. I had no idea, not something that I ever even thought that I wanted to do. But I had said, yeah, I'm interested. And he was like, cool, come back here during lunch. We'll walk up to the office and we'll meet with the athletic director. We'll have an interview and we'll see if we can get you started. So I did that. I went and did this interview with the athletic director and their assistant. And they were like, all right, we want to use you. Can you stay after school today for a high school volleyball game? And I was like, well, I was like 14 years old. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. So I had to call my mom and I had to be like, Mom, I have to stay after school today because I got a job, not because I got in trouble or anything. So that was that was fun to be able to start. I started at $30 a game. I was on cloud 9 when I was 14 years old, making $30 a game, doing 3 games a day at some point. So I was making almost $100 a day. I was like, I'm going to get to buy every video game that I want, all the food that I want, go have the nice lunch instead of the school lunch. It was awesome. But I started in volleyball, ended up adding some basketball. I was on the wrestling team, so I did some wrestling as well. Worked my way up through all 4 years of high school. Eventually, I got a chance to do pretty much everything that there was at the high school level. Then when I was going off to college, I was going down to Lakeland. Actually, Lakeland was where I went to school. So I reached out to the school that I was going to ahead of time and say, hey, I have this experience and here's references and, a reel and all that. Is this something that you guys have a need for when I come down here? So started doing it there as well. I did all the same things: basketball, volleyball, some baseball, some soccer, softball, did a little bit of everything. At the end of my bachelor's degree, after 4 years, they liked me so much, they wanted to keep me on as a graduate assistant and give me a master's to keep having me continue to announce for the university. So I announced there for 6 years. They were just about to add American football, right when I was about to graduate, and it was a big deal. And so I got to do the first 2 years of that football program, which was really exciting too. But then after school was over, I kind of thought, well, that maybe is the end of my run into my career, 10 years. That sounded great. And I would do a couple of things here and there post-graduation, but never really got nothing really too consistent. I would go back down to Lakeland to do a couple of high school level things. But then they announced that they were bringing the G League to Lakeland. And I was ecstatic. I was so excited. And one of my friends who worked for the university and worked for the basketball program there had joined the Magic and was going to join the Lakeland Magic as one of the first, as one of their first staff, one of the first ticket sales guys that they had. So he was sort of able to help get me in front of them early to say, hey, if we're looking for an announcer, this is who we want to try to get. So I actually went down and interviewed and auditioned before they had ever publicly posted that they were looking for someone, and locked it down at that point. So, awesome. Then got started. So that was 4 years ago. Just finished the 4th season with them this year. That's kind of how I got started and all that.
Cool.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what we'll do, we'll talk to you a bit more about everything that you do as we progress. We'll start with a roundup of the Magic news. Orlando Magic, I should say, because we've obviously got representation for both this week. So we'll start with the Orlando Magic injury list. There's no change with Jonathan Isaac, Markelle Fultz. Obviously, we're going to see nothing different for a time to come. We have Otto Porter out with a foot issue, and Kareem Mane has been out with a hamstring injury. That's kept them both out this week. Other than that, we have nothing there. Orlando Magic have also signed Devon Kennedy to 10-day contract, and are rumoured also to be signing Robert Franks to a 10-day. Now, both have been integral parts of the Lakeland Magic. So, Hank, how does it feel to see them progress into the NBA, and how do you think they'll do with the opportunity they've got?
I love those two. If you had to ask me my 2 favorite players from this season, it was them, 1 and 2. Robert Franks is really probably the most versatile player on that Lakeland team this year. He does a little bit of everything, and he does it really, really well. He can shoot, but he's big enough that he can get up there and dunk with the best of them. He's got great ups. Devin, really, really awesome. He has this level of maturity that I think that he brings, and this tenacity that I think is really good. Very versatile guard as well. He does really well sort of in both spots, and we saw him play very, very on ball heavy and off ball heavy this year. So he really did. Both of those guys really did do a lot. Very integral part of that team and the success that they were able to have winning the championship this year.
Gee, I'm sure I remember you saying something about when we saw Robert Franks playing with the Magic in Summer League a couple of years back, how impressed you were with him then. I'm sure it was yourself.
Yeah, just what Hank just said. He's versatile, does the little things that, don't appear in the box score. So a very handy guy to have. So it's nice for him to be able to have an opportunity in these 20 games left, just to show what he can do. So the Magic really need to use these 20 games just to see if you can unearth those, diamonds in the rough. And, being a G League champion, he knows how to win. So let's give him an opportunity and see what he can do.
G, whilst you're talking, I'm going to ask you as well your opinion on us waiving Cam. What do you think that does for the team?
Yeah, it's a little disappointing. I mean, there was talk of, trade deadline, moving him on. So there was obviously nothing there. But he's been, a very reliable serviceable backup, big to Vucevic and the Magic core for the last 4 years. Came in unearthed by, Jeff Weltman and John Hammond, and he's done a sterling job. You can't really ask more from him for what he was asked to do. He's been solid. You knew that when he was on the floor, he was giving it 110%. You see the screens he set, the offensive rebounding this season. He's worked on his jump shot. So I'm a little bit sad to see him go. But with that, I understand it. And the opportunity for Wendell Carter Jr. and for Mo Bamba to get increased minutes. Although I did have a bit of a panic yesterday when Bamba had that little injury in the second quarter, and you're thinking, oh my God, we've only got Wendell left. So no, it was the right move, and you wish him the best, and you hope that he succeeds. There's rumours he's going to Toronto. I wouldn't mind seeing him go to Brooklyn and possibly get a ring, but he deserves the best, and wish him very well.
There's two things, G. Sorry, I was just going to say,
go, Mike.
It's not Toronto, it's Tampa.
That's exactly what I was
just to wind you up.
It's not Tampa.
And I also want to ask Hank, I don't know if Paul was going to ask this, your opinion on Birch, because he's somebody that developed for us in the G League, playing for Lakeland. What did you think to Kem in the time that you saw him, Hank?
Oh, Kem was one of my favorites early on, and he probably is the best Lakeland Magic success story that we have so far. He was the nicest guy, always a great presence and a great personality to be around. He really came into his own there in the G League. He put together some great outings, some great dunks. His highlights are some of the best. And when he got a chance to play his way into a contract, that's something we were all so ecstatic about. So excited to be able to see him, continue to represent Lakeland and represent us up at that level. He really was awesome. And him going to Tampa / Toronto is very bittersweet. It's really bittersweet, but it is sort of a homecoming for him. He does play with the Canadian national team, so him getting a chance to go ahead and be involved in that organization, I'm sure, is something that he's excited about. So we wish him all the best. He's awesome.
He's earned every opportunity he gets. He's not been given anything. He's earned it, and fair play to the man. I should tell you, Hank, G is a big Tampa fan of Bolts and yeah, there we go. Help me out, because my knowledge of American sport starts and ends with basketball. It's that's where it goes. That's where it is with me. So the games, we've had 2 games since we recorded last. We lost to Washington 131-116. Excellent scoring from the bench. Ross led the way with 24. Cole Anthony returned, knocking in 13 points and 7 rebounds coming from the bench. And Mo gave us a really solid night with 19 points. RJ Hampton put in 14 points as well. Wendell Carter Jr. led the starters with 15. And then we played Indiana last night, where we lost 111-106. Ross led all scorers with 24 points. Mo Bamba again weighed in with some good points, 14. And I also thought Wendell Carter Jr. gave Sabonis a really tough game. Gary Harris made his Magic debut. So, Mikey, first of all, thoughts on young Mr. Cole Anthony's return?
I love that kid. He's got such a great attitude. I love the tenacity he plays with. Was it the Indiana game, which was his first game back? At his first few minutes on the floor, he was putting up buckets all over the place.
It was Washington, mate. It was Washington.
Oh, Washington. Sorry. He's been inefficient the first 2 games back, but that's to be expected, having sat out for the last couple of months not playing. But yeah, I tweeted it out. It's a breath of fresh air having him back. I loved his post-game interview. Again, we get to enjoy watching him the rest of the way and watching him amongst all the other young kids develop between now and the end of the season. So, yeah. Yeah,
the first 3 buckets, he hit all 3 shots, didn't he? His first 3. And some really good handles for the driving dunk that he dropped. There were some really good handles. Very, very impressed. What about Gary Harris's debut then, Mikey? What's your thoughts on that?
I think it was a good outing for him. I think the management are going to be a bit cautious in giving him his minutes. I think he played 17 or 18 minutes last night, so there's no rush bringing him along. But he's going to be a good veteran along with Otto Porter. Hopefully he's one of those players we probably want to keep going into next season, because he's one of those solid players who knows the league in and out, that the young players can learn from. Hopefully he can re-find his scoring touch, which is something that's gone missing for him the last couple of years. But it was a good first outing. He looked good in the new jerseys, the new turn jerseys, which I love. All good for me.
What do you think about the shorts, Mikey?
Oh, don't get me started on that star. Hank, I don't know if you've noticed on the short. You've noticed. I'm not the only one then.
Honestly, it just does not play well to Mikey's OCD. No. It really doesn't. Every time that the earned is mentioned, we get if it's in our talk group, if it's on
Every
Twitter,
time.
whatever, every single time Mikey has to respond about the wonky star on the shorts. So funny, so funny.
On our Magic. Sorry, Hank.
Oh, I went into my Twitter DMs and I saw I had a message from Mikey. I was like, I hope I didn't say anything wrong about the star. I don't know why.
So, Hank, do you get to watch the Orlando Magic a lot?
I do. I love tuning into their games, and I've been to a handful here in person this year, which has been awesome. Love getting a chance to go watch them in person whenever I can. But always try to catch them on TV. I have a league pass, so I try to stay up to date with a little bit of everything going on.
Yeah.
But yeah, love getting a chance to watch Orlando. Love Cole getting back. Love seeing what Wendell's been able to do so far. So yeah, staying up to date.
Good man. I think there's a huge amount of excitement around Wendell. He's great. The man's great. So this is where we like to get to know our guests a lot better, if you don't mind, Hank. Well, fire a few questions at you. So first of all, how exciting has it been to be part of the Lakeland this season?
So exciting. I'll tell you going back to last season, we've been to the playoffs every year that we've been in Lakeland, all 4 years. So we've seen a lot of success. The 2020 season, which ended so abruptly due to COVID, I think we had 5 home games left and maybe 8 or 9 total. There was so much excitement. We had probably the best chance we had yet of getting a chance to really make a run at the G League title. We had guys like Josh Majette and Emil Jefferson that were on assignment a lot and clicking. We had Melvin Frazier Jr., who was down a lot. He was clicking really well with everybody. We just had a good group that was getting hot at the right time, and we were so excited. And then for that season to get cut short, it sucked the air out. It was so sad, but totally understandable. We were just like, that's going to be one that we're going to look back on and think that was a season that got away from us. That was one of the best chances we had. So when it finally came out, the G League bubble was coming down here to Orlando. Getting a chance to go out and be a part of that was also super exciting. Really, really different season. And there's so many challenges, I think, that come with being in the G League and playing and coaching at that level. But getting a chance to see them this year, obviously being able to watch them be there in person added just a whole different level of excitement to it. Getting a chance to be behind the mic for them. Those games were always the ones that I was the most excited about working down there. Just because I love those guys, love to represent well. And then seeing what they were able to put together. They again this year got hot at the right time, really started to put together some quality wins, and then went into that tournament, the playoff tournament, at a 6 seed. Not that great, but we were excited to see what we were going to do. We thought we had pretty good matchups depending on how it all shook out, and then those were the 3 most important games of the season. They really came to play in those. So exciting. What an exciting stretch to feel like we had gotten so close the year before, and then to keep that momentum, bring it into this year, and then do it big and win the whole thing.
It was 2 years before that, wasn't it? Because before that, I think Lakeland lost in the Eastern Conference Finals, and then last year you were top of the Eastern Conference when the hiatus cut the season short. So yeah, 2 years back they were I think second or third maybe in the conference. So we had one of the first playoff game was at home, and then they went to play the Long Island Nets on the road and lost. I think it was either in overtime or to force overtime. Theo Pinson hit a great shot, and really that was another great opportunity. But then last year, right at the top of the East, we were feeling really good, and then we went on that hiatus. So we know that obviously your main job's being the PA announcer. When Orlando went into the bubble, when the NBA restarted, it was quite well known that a lot of the staff that were part of that small group that went in there had other jobs that they helped out with, like mopping the floors and stuff for the team in practice and stuff like that. Did you have anything like that on top of what you were doing in terms of the PA stuff? Was it quite a close knit group, and was there any sort of other jobs that you ended up doing as well that you didn't expect to?
So I was pretty fortunate. I was fortunate that I did not have to stay there on campus.
Okay.
I live in the Orlando area, so I was able to drive in and out for what I was able to do. But I did help the production company that was putting us on. I made all the rosters and helped keep that up to date for everybody. We had spreadsheets and stuff that we kept to update, and we would track the transactions because those were still a thing that happened. Right. Players getting called up and coming down and this and that. So we would try to keep the rosters updated. But fortunately for me, it was mostly just getting behind the mic and doing that kind of thing. And it probably helped that I didn't have to stay there on site. I was able to come home and sleep in my own bed at night, which was nice.
Cool.
Cool. I was going to ask you about how you got into the in-game arena announcing, but you've already answered it. So I'll pivot. So 2 questions. A, do you get a ring for the Lakeland team winning
I wanted to know
championship?
That.
Yeah. And B, what's your favorite moment watching the Orlando Magic since you've, grown up in Central Florida?
To answer the ring question, that's my question too. That's what I want to know. So Ring Watch 2021. I'm hoping that, maybe when we start in the fall, that maybe when we have some sort of ceremony, maybe I'll get something, but I'm just joking. It would be cool to be able to get that, and that would be a lot of fun.
Do you want us to start a campain on Twitter?
Definitely.
Hey, that would be awesome.
Hashtag ring for Hank.
That would be really cool. So getting a chance to do that, let's talk about some of my favorite Magic moments.
Yeah.
I remember our finals trip. I was in high school, getting a chance to be in the finals. Went to one of the playoff games. I can't remember which series it was in, but getting a chance to go to one of those playoff games. That atmosphere was just crazy, and I mean, I was already announcing at that point and enjoying it. I was in high school, but I remember being in that environment and being like, man, this is something that would be so cool if I could get a chance to be a part of this, something like this one day, and really helped, take me and propel me to that next point and keep me going in my announcing career. So I just remember that whole year, that whole playoff run was really so exciting. And I remember 2 years ago going to the playoffs after we hadn't been for so long, matching up against then Toronto, now Tampa. And everything that the excitement again around that was so cool. So yeah, I just all those postseason all the postseason trips that we've had, those moments, like I remember just being so excited about the build up to that, thinking about like, oh, who are we gonna get, what are we gonna do, and all that. Those are some of my favorite moments for sure.
Cool. On that, do you get to interact with Paul Porter, seeing as he's the Magic PA guy? Or...
I haven't actually had a chance to. Paul is really one of the best, and I remember even at when I'm starting at 14 years old, he was really the baseline for what I wanted to try to, who I wanted to try to emulate, and so he really was the foundation for so much of my style, and I've built off of him so much and his example. Really, there's not. It's something that I pay attention to a lot when I watch on League Pass, around the league. Something that I'm really honed in on, and we're so fortunate to really have an elite talent behind the mic. And Paul, he's great. Supposedly, he's been to a couple of Lakeland games. I think maybe just as a spectator, but I haven't had a chance to personally interact with him. I would love to be able to do that. But I get to learn from him just as much when I get a chance to go there to Amway Center and sit. I always try to get there real early so I can make sure that I hear all of the starting lineups, all of the pregame introductions, because it's so similar to what we do down in Lakeland. It's basically a copycat version. So I like to be able just to sit, hear what he does, learn from him, take all that in, really enjoy that fan experience, so that when it's me behind the mic down there, I know what I'm, the feelings, the emotions that I want to try to bring out in those fans that we have down there at RP Funding Center.
Awesome.
Would that be the ultimate for you? Take it over from Paul.
Yeah. That would be the dream.
I love the honesty. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
that would be the dream for sure. Central Florida is my home. I've grown up here. Love the Magic ever since my family was here. Shaq was like my first favorite player. So getting a chance to be a part of the Magic at all at any point, even the role I have now, like, is such a huge honor, and I'm so appreciative and grateful for the opportunity. And if I had the chance to take it to the next level, continue to contribute to the Magic family in that way, I mean, that's an absolute dream come true.
That's awesome. So I was interested to hear you say that you were able to come away from the G League bubble to go home. I was expecting that you would be staying on site. So I was going to kind of ask you around how that worked, but I'm going to pivot as G did, and just say, so how did it work for you with being able to come and go?
So we had testing requirements that we had to meet depending on what level you were and what tier of access you had, the testing requirements were different. But because we had floor access, it was pretty frequent. We were testing at least every day. And I didn't work every day. But I would have to have a test on file for the day before if I was going to work on a day. So if I was going to announce on a Wednesday afternoon, I'd have to have a test on record for Tuesday. So I would have to make a lot of trips down there just to keep my testing up to date. They made it super simple, super easy, and very, very quick. All of the league staff, the medical staff, even the Disney cast members were all amazing. So they made it super, super simple, but there would be days where I would have to drive down there just to test, and maybe I'd stand in, watch a game wrap up, and go grab some food while I was there. But I would usually I would make sure that I had my testing requirements met. And then on a game day, I would show up around 2 hours before just to start, printing off stuff and going over things, make sure we have everything in order. We didn't have a lot in the means of pregame presentations. We weren't doing a lot of arena reads because there was no one there. So it was pretty easy leading up to game time. We just had, 2 hours to get all of our stuff in order, get everything ready. And then, the first thing we would announce was the officials at like 5 minutes to go or 3 minutes to go. So we would get all that ready. I went live on my Facebook during some of the games that I did there, just doing some of the starting lineups. Most of them were for Lakeland, but I had a few other games in the mix there. So I was very fortunate that I didn't have to stay there on campus. I had opportunities to drive in, work the things that I was scheduled for, and then head home. Where I live is about probably 45 minutes from Disney. So getting down there is not too bad of a trip at all. I actually live closer to Disney than I do to Lakeland. So it was even an easier commute to get there than it would be for our regular season games. But it was awesome. The other announcers who worked there were other announcers from around the G League, and those guys were super professional and super great. But they were stuck there, interacting with them as the season sort of went on. I could tell that they definitely were a little, I think, fatigued from that bubble lifestyle. They were dreading, I think, being there as long as they were. So I was very glad, looking back on it, that I had a chance to sort of get away and come back with sort of a fresh perspective on all that.
How popular were you when you sort of at the end of a game went, right, see you lads?
I'm off home.
I can imagine your name was Mud.
Well, I always tried to stick around and make sure that I interacted with everybody, and lots of the Lakeland game day staff, like people who were on the clocks and the boards and all that, were people who were also working there. So it helped to have good relationships with all those people as well. So being a chance to be there, interact with those guys, I always tried to make sure that I stuck around as long as I could to, be there in the trenches with everybody, because it was a long month. It was a long month.
I guess it was a good opportunity as well to meet with a lot of people that are doing the same role that you don't actually normally get to meet up with.
Yeah, that's another great point. Getting to meet the other announcers. There were 4 of us total working the whole thing. So getting a chance to meet with Chris and Kevin and Nick, who Nick announces with Windy City, Kevin announces with Greensboro. So I had talked with him before because we're in that same division with them. And then Chris works for Oklahoma City. He has a bunch of different roles with them. But getting a chance to meet and interact with those guys, I'm so young. So I get a chance to sit down with them and be like, hey, so what is it like for you guys where you're at? What are some of the things that you do? What is your relationship like with your parent club? How often do you get to do things with them? So just getting a chance to learn from those guys and being able to say, hey, you did this really great. I really like that. Maybe you want to say that a little bit differently. But just being able to soak in wisdom from guys who have been doing it, for a long time. All those guys have had some level of NBA experience as well.
Okay.
So being able to, ask them about what it's like, what are the differences between the G League level and the NBA level as far as, being behind the mic and what that experience is. So it was great just to be able to learn from those guys. And, I realized that I'm young and I'm still relatively new at this level. So any chance I have to interact with anybody who's done it for a long time at the G League level, let alone the NBA level. I mean, they were super, super helpful, super gracious, awesome guys to work with, great feedback. And it was a really, really awesome experience for me from a developmental standpoint.
Superb.
So we know that COVID's obviously affected every single person on this planet for the last year or so. We've all gone through lockdowns and things like that. What's the one thing that you probably appreciate more now than maybe we all took for granted before all this started?
Yeah, live sports feels like an obvious answer, but it is something that you sort of take for granted of, not only just from the entertainment perspective, but from an income perspective. It's part of, of my budget and money that, you count on. And when that all gets, pulled out from under you, it can be a big shock. But so just being able to appreciate that in a new way, watching certain things on TV, I love some of the stuff that they tried to do to sort of, make it continue to do it, but nothing beats the real thing. Being able to be back behind the mic live, I mean, nothing beats that. Being able to go as a fan to the Amway Center and be there and see a game live, even though we're, seated, socially distant apart, nothing beats that. So just those gatherings, those experiences, those opportunities to be able to be together. Definitely taking that for granted and have an all new appreciation for that.
Cool. So obviously, as part of your job, rule number 1 is getting a player's name correct. Paul seems to have a bit of difficulty here saying a couple of NBA players' name, and I'm not saying Giannis. Victor Oladipo comes to mind, isn't it? You add an extra row, don't you, Paul?
Yes. It's Oladipo, apparently.
So
don't get me started on Hedu.
Yeah. Are there any really difficult ones you've had to say in the, that spring to mind? Or have there been any sort of embarrassing moments?
We've had Kostas Antetokounmpo in the G League, so his name comes to mind for sure. But one of the ones from the G League level I'll never forget was Josh Majette. Before he was with the Magic as a two-way, he played I think for the Hawks G League team as well, which was I think Erie at the time.
Erie, yeah.
So I remember him being in town, and I had announced him, coming into the game, and I had said Josh Majetti because of the way it was written in the pronunciation guide. Wasn't really that clear and didn't get a good clarification, so said Majetti. And I remember him taking the ball up the court as I'm finishing up, and he's getting ready to inbound the ball or whatever, and I'm finishing up that call. He was the last name that I said, and I remember I'm sitting right there. He just turned to me and he goes, "Hey, it's Majette." and then just kept going through the game. So just corrected me right there on the spot. And then ultimately we ended up, getting him, and he ended up playing for the Magic. And I doubt he probably ever remembers that, but that's one of those things when you get corrected live, especially by a player, you're just like, oh, I'm not going to mess that one up again.
No, and that name, in fairness, we had a player in 2001, Corey Maggette, and I know it's spelled with an extra one less G or one less T or whatever it is. But when I saw Josh Maggette, I thought Maggette, but there we go.
Yeah,
there we go.
So it was, I feel like that one's that's a complicated one. Maybe a little bit of grace for me on that one, but still, don't want to try to get those wrong.
Yeah. So unfortunately, we don't get to see Lakeland games here because we don't have ESPN2, etc. We work, we solely rely on League Pass to get our Magic fix. So we see some highlights, etc. So I was wondering if you'd be so kind to maybe give us a rendition of, starting lineups. And I don't know, could you introduce us as part of the Lakeland Magic, perhaps?
Oh, of course. We can definitely do that. That's a lot of fun.
Awesome.
Do you guys have a preferred position or number? I mean, I'll need to write this down probably.
Yeah.
I'm number 68.
Oh, okay.
You can call me the elder statesman of the team.
I'm taking notes. Okay.
Cool.
Mikey, what about you? What you got?
It'd be number 1. That's always been my number.
Okay.
6'1". I'm 6'1". Call me a 2 guard because G's a bit shorter than me.
Oh, cheers.
G's a bit shorter than everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm fat, as we found out in the 5K.
It was my concussion, pal. It was my concussion. That's all that was making me slow.
I know. And for me, if you could go for number 19, guard from Cardiff, Wales. Yeah, that'd be great.
And then say we know we went over in the pre-show, but say it time so I don't get it wrong.
Right, no worries. It's Geraint. Yeah, is that cool?
Yep, that's perfect. Okay, cool. Okay, all right. I think I've got everything that I need.
No pressure, Hank. This is bigger than the bubble.
So good.
This is bigger than the bubble. Definitely. All right. So the arena we play at in Lakeland is the RP Funding Center. You may or may not have known, but that'll be the setting for these starting lineups that we'll do. So I would normally start. We would say, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the RP Funding Center here in Lakeland, Florida, for tonight's G League matchup featuring the Erie Bayhawks. Yeah. And your Lakeland Magic! Let's meet tonight's starting lineup. Number 68, the elder statesman of the team, Paul Bacon. And number 1, the 6'1" shooting guard, Mikey Clark. And number 19, guard from Cardiff, Wales, Garrett Gio.
That is brilliant.
Amazing.
Love it. Thank you.
That's
so
superb.
much. That's awesome.
So fun. I haven't got a chance to do that in a while, so awesome to get a chance to do that for you.
So when we come over to Florida next time and we come to a Lakeland game, we'll be expecting that, all right?
Perfect. Sounds good. We'll see you there.
That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant. So we record next. I can't speak now for laughing. That is brilliant. That's done me. Took me legs. Brilliant stuff. So we record next on Saturday, the 17th of April. We have a guest Magic superfan, Deb Swimmer, hopefully. Fingers crossed that she can join us. We're still waiting on find out for definite, aren't we?
Yep.
So before then, we have 4 games that we play. I'm going to run through these fairly quickly. So we next play on Sunday night, midnight tip in the UK against the Milwaukee Bucks at home. Bucks have lost 3 on the trot, third in the East with a 32-20 record, 14-26 on the road this season. As far as the Magic playing the Milwaukee Bucks, the Bucks have won 9 of the last 10 that we've actually played them. Last night they had Giannis, Drew Holiday, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, Dante DiVincenzo, and PJ Tucker out. So we'll see what lineup we actually face on that one. Monday, 1 a.m. tip, back-to-back for both teams. We play the San Antonio Spurs. They are 12-21 on the road, and they've lost their last 3, 9th in the West with a 24-26 record. Then on Wednesday, 1 a.m. tip here in the UK, so Thursday morning for us, we travel to take on one Nikola Vucevic and the Chicago Bulls. Vuce has continued with his strong play since the trade, but the Bulls have lost 7 of their last 10 games, 10th in the East, 22-29 on the season record, and we are 1-1 with them in meetings this season. And then we finish up the week with a trip along the I-4.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
To play in Tampa against, what's the name again? Is it Toronto Raptors, isn't it? Keep getting confused, G.
I know.
See the vein. He's getting angry.
It's there, isn't it? He's going to be splitting his clothes and going into Hulk mode shortly. But we could obviously face Kem. Raptors are 11th in the East, not having a good season at all. 11 of 25 at home. They've lost their last 2 games, and as far as the Magic are concerned, since DJ threw that brilliant winner in the playoffs in Game 1 of 2019, we are having lost 11 straight to them, which is not really great going into the game, is it? No. They've had Lowry, Van Vliet, and Rodney Hood missing, so we'll see again what lineup we get. Guys, predictions for the week. What are your thoughts?
Before you do that, Paul, you need to tell everyone who got it right last week.
I thought we scratched it as we missed the Indiana game.
No, I got it right. Nobody else did.
I somehow knew you were going to jump in there, Grant. Yes, let's just mention that for his 4th success of the season, I believe, G, it is one Mr. Jones who predicted correctly that we would lose to Washington, and privately we had a message between us as to who would prevail over Indiana, and we all went for a loss. So, G, congratulations. You did get the week right on 1-1. Before I do say anything else, I want to just thank... Oh, sorry, 0-2, yeah. I just want to thank Alan and Gary for stepping in, helping out last week. Much appreciated. We'd all gone for 1-0. I was absolutely convinced that we would beat the Wizards. So, shows what I know. So, Hank, I'm going to come to you. What's your thoughts on the week? 4 games that we've got.
Yeah, that's it's an interesting slate. I like our chances against the Bucks just because of all the injuries. So count that one as a win. I think that we should also get the Spurs, but I think we'll drop the Bulls and the Raptors. So 2-2.
Cool. Mikey, what are you going with?
Seeing as I got told I was glass half full, half empty.
Half empty. Come on, mate.
Yeah, Mr. Pessimist.
Cool. Yeah,
you're depressing us all.
I want to be positive. I'm just trying to be real. That's all. I'm going to go 1-3. I think we're going to beat the Spurs.
Okay, interesting. Any reason why?
Their second half of the schedule with the season's getting more difficult than their first half of the schedule. Obviously, on paper, we should be one of the easier games that they end up playing, but they might actually take the foot off the pedal if they think, if they're going to come in and walk all over us. The way we play keeps us in games, especially with as hard as we play lately. So yeah, I think we just might be able to nick the Spurs game, but we'll see.
Cool. The man with the hot streak, G, where are you going?
I'm going 1-3, but I'm not going where anybody else has gone. I'm saying we beat the Chicago Bulls.
Interesting.
I can see Wendell Carter wanting to make a bit of a statement, going back to the United Center. Vucevic will obviously want to play well against us. But I can see us picking at least one this week, and I'd like it to be that one. So I'm plucking for that one. The guys are scrapping, trying to play defense, best they can. And one game we're going to take, and it's going to be the Chicago Bulls.
I think we could win one of the last three at least, can't we? The Spurs, Bulls, or Raptors. I think we can at least win one of those.
Yeah,
I'm going 2-2. I'm going 2-2, and I'm with Hank. I'm taking that we can beat the Bull. We beat Bucks, Milwaukee. With their injury issues, with the way we're now playing, I think we've got a chance against them. We've got to break a streak like that at some point. And for the same reason, the other win I'm taking is the Raptors. I think we'll prevail in the I-4 battle.
It'll be nice to. Sorry, Hank, you carry on.
Oh, the wild card in all these, of course, is what our new 10-day contracts are going to do. So it might give a little bit of an extra spark, and depending on how much run those guys get, could swing one way or the other, and might be something that those teams don't really know how to prepare for. So it might give us a little bit of an edge.
And it'd be always nice to beat Kyle Lowry, isn't it?
Always great to beat Kyle Lowry. That's true.
Yeah. Anytime we can put one over the fat flopper, I'm happy. I really don't like the guy.
No.
I really don't like the guy. I can't pretend.
Although
nobody does.
Without Aaron Gordon to beef with anymore, then maybe he won't be as he usually is.
He won't want to play. He's got no motivation. And Nick Nurse just gets on my wires, moaning constantly. No, I'm not a fan. So make sure that you check the website, orlandomagic.uk.com. Follow us on our social platforms on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all under the Orlando Magic UK name. If you're shopping, please don't forget to use our affiliate links off the website. Also, Magic UK 10 for a 10% discount on Fanatics and the NBA Store Europe. As I say, please use our affiliate links. It does help pay for what we do here. But please remember, with the discount code, some exclusions may apply. Hank, I've got to say thank you so much for joining us. You've been an amazing guest, mate. Absolutely brilliant.
Thanks for having me. Looking forward to continuing to follow you guys. I've followed you guys for a while, and we'll continue to follow, and maybe we'll do this again soon.
It's been brilliant. Thank you so much for joining us. Mikey, G, as always, guys, thank you. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, go Magic.
Go Magic.
Gary's got a fantastic Penny Hardaway cardboard cutout behind him, which I'm very, very envious of. Do you want to tell us a story about that, Gar?
Yeah, basically holidaying in Orlando, walk into a shop, and that stood there. And I'm just like, right, I'm buying that. And I was only like a teenager at the time. And my dad's like, comes over, what you doing? And I was like, buying that. We had a bit of a conversation in the shop, and I was like, I'm shipping it home. I know how to get it home. And yeah, it was shipped back. So as a teen, I kind of had Penny Hardaway crammed into my bedroom alongside a Michael Jordan one I've also got, and then me. So it was never lonely, just me and the guys watching Magic games, really. You know, it's been really handy in lockdown as well, and just to have a chat with Penny every now and then.